Hello guys, how are you? Here your teacher's talking. So, um, what we're going to do? Well, I'm here to help you. So, in order to do that, and in order to help you with your task number one, remember that you have to do a task. From task one consists of you writing a small essay about traveling and what traveling means to you. Oh, there's a dog barking outside. Okay, don't mind him. So I have prepared this video or PowerPoint presentations about linkers and connectors. So this is so much fun. Let's get started. Now, do you remember linkers at all? Do you remember them? Well, doesn't really matter, don't worry. That's what I'm here for, and I'm gonna remind them for you. We've seen them in class, and if you can recall at the back of your mind, they are very easy to understand, and you will follow me. Okay, the first thing that you have to know is I explained this in class, but I'm going to repeat it here. Okay, so the first thing for you to know is that linkers and connectors are also called transitions. I'm going to write it over here for you. It is written like this. Excuse me for my writing. But that's I'm doing my best. Okay, so there you go. Transition. So what is a transition then, you might ask? Well, a transition is like a bridge that connects two ideas. Okay, imagine that we have a bridge and people go over the bridge. They go over the bridge, not under the bridge. They go over the bridge to one end, from one side to the other. Okay. So basically, this metaphor, this idea of the bridge, it's very, very interesting to use here, and it's very appropriate, I might add, for the terminology linker, connector, or in this case transition. Yes. Well, transitions and linkers create flow. I'm going to write this here. It's written like this. When something flows, something is very smooth, something goes very easy. In writing, or in this case, it makes it very easier for the reader to follow what you're saying, and it also makes what you're saying more interesting as well. Okay. So, in summary, linkers or linking words help you to connect ideas and sentences so that people can follow what you're saying. And we're gonna see some examples of this. And so follow me to the next slide and you will understand what I'm talking about. So you might probably remember that there are a lot of linkers and connectors. Like a lot of them, but for this writing, for this task, you don't have to use all of them. Okay, if you use few of them, I will, and they are organized and well presented, I will consider that in your writing task. So let's see all of them in the next slide. Okay, so as you can see, we have a lot of linkers and connectors and transitions, remember, transitions that we can use in our writing because we don't want to repeat ourselves, we don't want to be boring, we don't want boring stuff, so we need something really entertaining, something very catchy for the reader to understand. And well, there are a lot of many more linkers, but this is a list over here, and we have sequence, linkers, sequencing ideas. We're gonna see this later. Giving results, making emphasis on something specific when we are talking or when we are writing, adding information. We have something, we add something to that information, and then reason. Sometimes we do things because of a reason. There is a reason. And then we also give examples in order to help the reader understand or clarify things better. We also contrast things with these words you can see there, and we also compare things. We compare ideas, we compare thoughts, we compare almost anything. And I have added one important type, which is this one, summarizing, because when we finish our writing, our sentence, or in a paragraph, this is the last paragraph in our writing, we should add a summary because it also clarifies things. The reader can get the main ideas from that summary. So another type of linkers or connectors is related to sequence. But before I start explaining, or rather showing you with an example, let's imagine that you're giving directions to someone who wants to bake a cake. So how would you do that? Well, it will be clear for you with the following example. Here we have the example. So I'm going to read it for you. First of all, you have to read the recipe. Next, you have to buy the ingredients. Then you should preheat the oven. While the oven is preheating, mix the ingredients together and put them in a pan. After that, let the cake bake for 20 minutes. Finally, take the cake out of the oven and ice it. Well done, very good. Now, let's underline the linkers. First of all, next, do you agree? I hope you do. Then, while, after that, and finally. You can say it in that way. When we use first, second, third, those are cardinal numbers. So when it's a sequence. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a sequence when you go one after the other. One thing happens, then another, then another, then another. In our text we have next, but we can substitute that with second. Then can be substituted by next or third. While we can substitute it, it's hard to find something else here. After that, it can be substituted by then, and finally by lastly. Okay, so let's talk about result, consequence. We want to connect a logical conclusion. But let's see, what is a consequence? Well, a consequence is basically a result. For example, in life, we make decisions, we make choices. Those decisions can be wrong, they might be right. But at the end of the day, we have to deal with the consequences. We have to live with the consequences. And because something happens before, we've done that, now we have to live with the consequences. So, therefore, thus, consequently, hence, these are our connectors. There are many more, and I will explain them later. And with their examples. So we have then, so, and as a result. So let's start with therefore. When we use therefore, we have to have a premise. What does a premise mean? Well, a premise is an idea that we believe to be true, and because we believe it's true, from that truth, we reach a conclusion. And we have the example here. Let's circle it. I think, therefore I am. Because I think, I am. Thus, and consequently, they're similar, and they are similar in a way. They are result and consequence. And let's read the examples. Here we have the examples. Sorry. There you go. So the examples. Here, he didn't work at all, and thus was fired. Because he didn't work, he was fired. He was being lazy, just like that. He did not concern himself with the interests of his own class, and consequently, some thought him proud and others thought him stupid. So we have consequently underlined here. Okay, what about hence? Well, hence, I wouldn't use hence here. I wouldn't recommend using it because it's old-fashioned and because not a lot of people know how to do it or how to use it correctly. And we can find this in all tests. We can find it in all writings. As I said, it's old-fashioned. We would rarely see it in a contemporary or 21st century, or we would use it in nowadays. It's very rare. Okay, then and so are informal. They are more informal, whereas the rest of the linkers that appear here, they're more formal. This happened, and then I decided I did this, or then I decided to whatever you want to say. So we have an example here. I'm cold, so we can use then. I will put on a coat. Because it's cold outside, I will put a coat. Because it's cold, freezing, I will do this, and I will put my coat on. We don't want to have a cough or anything like that. We don't have to get sick, do we? And finally, as a result, well, it's more formal, and the example is many people were killed as a result of the storm. There was a big, huge storm, and many people were killed. Because of that storm, a lot of people died, unfortunately. So, let's talk about emphasis. We use emphasis to highlight the most important points we are trying to make. We want to express something, and we want to highlight it. We use emphasis when there is something more important to say than other things. Why do we use emphasis? Well, we do emphasis because of three main reasons. The reader may not pick those main ideas that we're trying to transmit, to communicate. He might not understand the main message. He might have something there, but not quite understand the message. And he might focus on information that is less important. So in speaking, for example, we use emphasis in a different way than when we use emphasis when we are writing. In speaking, we will do something like this. You did steal the money, didn't you? But in writing, we would have to position the different linkers or connectors, which are these ones underneath, in the beginning of the sentence. So we would have undoubtedly. This word is kind of hard to pronunciate. Generally, indeed, in fact, obviously, clearly, especially. So my friend Laura told me that she was going to buy that skirt, but clearly she did have any ideas of how much it cost. So that would be an example of how we do emphasis. Or clearly, you're not listening to me. At the beginning of the sentences, emphasizing it. Okay, so let's talk about addition. Before I start talking about addition though, I want to make clear that there is a common mistake among people. Addition means one idea, another idea, and you add them. 1 + 1, 2 equals 2. But the most common mistake is that a lot of people use just one they have only one idea and they don't have the other idea when they're adding. So this is a very common mistake, and we should avoid that. You should avoid that. Okay, so let's see our linkers. In addition to, furthermore, moreover, to, and also, as well as. Moreover would be most informal. We would use it most formal, in a formal situation. In addition, in a most common situation. And all these connectors, linkers, they help you to add ideas. If we have one idea, we add it with these linkers, and then we have more ideas, and we keep on adding and adding. The more ideas we have, the better. For a short essay, we would use at least 2 of these connectors because variety in a writing essay, it's very important. It gives you freedom, and you can have fun making that. In a larger essay though, you can use 4 or more connectors, and obviously the more you use them, the more you will learn about them. You can use these connectors in the middle of the sentence or to join paragraphs. And go to the next slide and we will see an example. Okay, so far we have covered a lot of linkers and connectors. I hope you to remember them, but we are still there is a list of connectors that we didn't see, but I mentioned them on the chart on one of the slides above in this very presentation. We didn't see a reason, example, contrast, comparison, or summarizing. But I think you get the point now. You know what are linkers, what are connectors, and you get the point that you have to use them in order to complete that task for your blog. So thank you for paying attention to me during all this presentation. I hope I helped you, and if you're more interested about it, if you want to know about linkers and connectors more, please go to the link below. There's a link. You have to copy it on the internet from here, and then it will give you a direct access to the page where the linkers and connectors with a lot of examples and Spanish translation is. Instead of you, just in case you're not, you don't have them clear. I will also put this link on the blog on where it says resources for you to check it out. And well, that's all for now, and I hope I've been helping you a lot, and I'm looking forward to to see your writing, to see what you think about traveling, about traveling in general and traveling around the world.